simped so hard that I was arrested for it. I was with my girlfriend Sarah for approximately 4 years. She had a young boy who I loved very much, and I could even see a future being a parental figure to him. Sarah lived in another city about 40 minutes from me. I would spend any time that I could with her. If I wasn't working, I was with her. She was struggling financially and I would help where I could. I was working maintenance and did mobile calls as well. We met in an unconventional way, but I still loved her with all of my being, and she was a beautiful person. Inside and out. Or so I thought. She had significantly more friends than I did. When she needed a cosigner for an apartment for her and her older sister, I didn't hesitate to throw my name down to help them out. None of her friends wanted any part of it. I had met her friends and they seemed to do sketchy things for money, like selling substances, working at strip clubs, falsifying documents, etc. I knew she was not doing any of those things, and I saw the potential that she had. She was going to school, had 2 jobs, was raising her son, and was working in several community groups. With a busy schedule, she didn't get much time for herself. One summer day, she told me she was going out of town for the weekend with her girlfriends. I didn't think anything of it, and I was happy for her to take some time for herself. When the day finally came, I missed her and wanted to check in, so I called her a few times, but she didn't answer my calls. I wanted to surprise her when she came back home. I decided I would clean up the house, have groceries in the fridge, and spend some time with her. I had the keys to the apartment, as I was a cosigner on the property. I went to the apartment early in the morning to get a head start on the day. I knew no one would be there and I'd have the place to myself. I put the key in the lock and proceeded to open the door. As I opened it, the chain lock inside was engaged. My heart sank as I was sure no one was there. I became worried since I didn't hear from Sarah. I thought something must have happened. My military training had prepared me to stay calm and think things through before acting. I acted out several scenarios in my head and planned to execute them as needed. I went down to my vehicle and grabbed a set of bolt cutters and some other tools to get the door opened. I ran back up the stairs to the apartment, and after struggling for a few minutes with the tools, I had no choice but to use the bolt cutters. I opened the door and quickly scanned the room. I saw luggage in the hallway, and all types of strange shoes by the door. The kitchen was littered with beer bottles, pizza boxes, wine glasses, shot glasses, cigarette butts, and so on. There was clearly a party here, and more than a few people were having a good time. Then I put the bolt cutters in the closet next to the front door. I initially suspected her sister had some guests over, but when I thought more and more about Sarah not answering my calls, it didn't make sense that she was hurt or trapped in the apartment. My mind was racing as I went to our bedroom. I knocked softly, but there was no answer. I did hear some movement in the bedroom while I slowly pried open the door. I was not prepared for what I saw. I looked around and took a mental snapshot of the bedroom. I saw beer bottles, plates, men's shoes, jeans on the ground, and scissors on the nightstand. I walked toward the bed. It appeared empty, but upon closer inspection, I saw the silhouette of a person under the sheets. The way the sheets were draped reminded me of a corpse in the morgue. The person under the sheets was not my girlfriend. It was then that I realized Sarah was hiding in the closet with the sliding door open. I asked, "What's going on here?" She didn't flinch. I raised my voice, speaking louder, and with more conviction. She was frozen and was avoiding eye contact with me. I walked to the sheets and asked her one more time. She didn't budge. It felt like an eternity as I went to pull the sheets down. I could see the silhouette shaking and hear heavy breathing. I pulled away the sheet from his face and asked, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" He told me his name and I yelled, "What are you doing here?" He didn't reply. I asked again, "What are you doing, H?" Before I could finish my question, he wrapped his hand around my neck and began to choke me. I started choking him back. I held his little throat in my hand and squeezed with all my strength. I pushed his face into the bed and probably would have killed him if he didn't stand up next to me. With that gained leverage and his height, I knew I was beat. I've been in 3 fights in all of my life, and 2 of those were before the age of 12. I'm not a big guy. Needless to say, I didn't have the experience or physique to kick anyone's butt. He put me in a chokehold and it was pretty much over at that point. I couldn't see and I was rapidly becoming short of breath. In my mind, I was already defeated. But I knew that I loved this woman and that he must have drugged her. I also knew that I wasn't about to let some piece of poop's one-night stand ruin what she and I had built. She was the love of my life after all. The thought of losing her was all I needed to get out of this chokehold. I loved her and I knew that she loved me too. Our love was real. The room was dark, but I remembered what I saw when I walked in. With my free arm, I punched him in the side of the torso. I knew it wouldn't do much damage, but I just needed a small distraction. With my other arm, I felt around on the dresser. Beer bottles, perfume, and scissors were within reach. I had to make a split-second decision. I knew a perfume blast may temporarily blind him, but I would need to aim it just right into his eyes. It was a long shot and would probably miss. The scissors would do the trick, but in my current state, I would probably end up murdering the guy. I could say it was a crime of passion, but then my life as I knew it would be over. My only option was the empty beer bottle. I grasped it firmly by the neck and proceeded to strike him in the face. To my surprise, it didn't break. I struck him again. It still didn't break. I dropped that one because I thought maybe a different bottle would be better. After a few hits, his grip was loosened and I was free. I could see him slightly disoriented and he started to call out to his friends in the next room. He yelled, "Help! Help! He's trying to kill me." He grabbed my shirt and as he was about to hit me, I grabbed the perfume bottle. I realized the glass was probably more fragile than the beer bottle, so I took that and smashed it right into his forehead. With the shattering glass, the liquid went into his eyes and his forehead began to bleed. I knew I had only a few moments before his friend stormed into the room. I hadn't even realized that Sarah was trying to break up the fight. I pushed her off of me and flipped over the mattress onto both of them. I pulled the dresser to block the door as I went out into the hallway. I don't even know how I did that. 3 of his pals were waiting for me and chased me to the front door. 3 versus 1 is a different ball game. I knew I was toast when they cornered me at the door. I needed something. Anything that I could use to protect myself. I remembered the bolt cutters. I flung open the closet and grabbed my bolt cutters that were stashed away. I swung them like a madman just inches from their faces. I yelled and chased them back into the sisters' room. They tried to come out, but I kept yelling, "Don't come out." One of them tried to come out and I got him good in the arm. I chased him back to the room and even smashed in the door. It took all 3 of them to keep me from getting into that room. My fight wasn't with them and I didn't want to hurt anyone, but if they came after me I would not hesitate. With everyone in the rooms, it was eerily quiet. I wondered what their next move would be. I heard someone say that the police were called so I should leave. I executed my escape plan. I left the bolt cutters in the closet, took the luggage from the hallway, and emptied them all out over the balcony. I ran down the stairs faster than I'd ever ran in my life until I reached my car. I stayed off the main roads and drove home. On the way home, I was already preparing to do time in prison. When I got home I went straight to bed. It was a mentally exhausting experience. I found out later that Sarah had told the police that we had broken up 5 months ago and I didn't live there anymore. She told them I was a jealous ex who couldn't let her go. The guy was her new boyfriend and he was living there now. I ended up with several charges as a result and everyone there twisted the facts to make me look like a crazy unwelcome ex-boyfriend who broke in. The guy claimed I hit him in the head with the bolt cutters causing him to bleed all over the place. He had to get several stitches. I got a call from the police a few hours later to turn myself in. I had been charged with the following: assault with a weapon, possession of dangerous weapons, possession of burglary tools, and lastly, breaking and entering. I had to hire a lawyer and incur hefty legal fees. I did jail time, had a daily curfew set by the police, and had to do anger management, as well as community service. I'm not proud of my actions, but I'm glad I was able to remain calm and think in the heat of the moment. I'm the most unassuming person you will ever meet, and people who know this story are shocked that I have been through this. I haven't been able to fully trust any partner ever again.